Hello. Chris Bernard here from Content Engagement Lab and CB Knows AI. Thank you for joining me. Today, we're going to be helping you get work done using AI and automation. So thanks for joining me. We are going to talk about taking ripe, beautiful Google Search Console last 7 day to previous 7 day impressions and clicks data and turning those into gold in terms of SEO rankings and AI overviews visibility. So stay with me on that. We are going to talk about that. I'm just going to share with you some of the stuff going on. Everyone knows our friends over at Google, but you may not be familiar on pulling up actually Google Search Console. So some of you are not familiar with that. Google Search Console will be found at search.google.com for our listeners. That information is where we can listen to what Google is telling us in terms of our website performance. Not just clicks and pages and things like that, but also impressions data. Very important. This is the listening part of it. One of these really great tools in there is a tool that will show the last 7 day impressions and clicks to the previous 7 day impressions and clicks. Some of you are going to ask, what can you do with that information? This is the part where we listen to what Google is saying. If Google is showing a page more often than it did previously, it's saying there's interest there. And it's saying that basically that page has stuff on it that it wants to present to people doing certain searches or would be interested in hearing that information, if you will. Okay? So we're listening to what Google is actually telling us. Then we should also see, as they show that impressions data more often, we should see an increase in clicks. If we don't, then Google's going to show that stuff less, right? If it improves the performance and they show it more often and it improves or increases the click rate, Google is going to reward that behavior a little bit more. So in this concept of big data and AI overviews and all of that stuff, visibility is one thing, but where the real rubber hits the road is those clicks coming into the website or actual engagement. Okay, people would argue, okay, clicks with AI overviews, clicks are actually going down, impressions are going down, people aren't actually going and clicking those little links in the AI overviews area. Guys, it doesn't matter. The concept here is your content resonates and your business resonates with specific concepts, issues, etc. That's where this matters, okay? So what we typically do, this is the research side of it. So taking this information, knowing that it has an impact in the meta description in the title when somebody does a search or what's presented in AI overviews, we can listen and optimize that content. Let me take you through the report in Google Search Console. And just by taking the screenshot and then bringing it into a custom gem that we built with some automations, it will actually tell us, it'll do the research for us, and based on the client information it's been trained on, give us actual adjustments to make to the meta description, the title description, as well as potentially content based on the actual data. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Now, what I have up on my screen right now for our listeners is basically a screenshot of the Google Search Console information minus I covered up the top pages because this is actual client information. Okay. The columns going across in this, guys, from left to right are clicks last 7 days. So it's got pages, right? Then clicks last 7 days, then clicks the previous 7 day count, and then the clicks difference, so the variance between the previous 7 days and the actual last 7 days. And then the fourth column over is impressions last 7 days. And then the next column over that is the impressions that previous 7 days. And then the last column in that Google Search Console report is the impressions difference. And this is the one that actually is where our key is. We sort descending on that because I want to see basically which pages Google's finding more interesting and showing our content more for in the last 7 days from the previous 7 days. So we're just doing a really good job of listening. So instead of spending tens of thousands of dollars on like focus groups with information that is dated and basically irrelevant at that point because it's now past us, you can actually go ahead and see what Google's telling you your content is resonating and it's trying to reward you for that. If we don't get the same boost from impressions, let's say we have a 2x on impressions, and we don't have that same boost in clicks, we got a problem. Because Google's no longer going to show that page as often because it went up 200% in terms of impressions, but your clicks didn't go up that much. You need to be able to make those adjustments. That's the point of this. This is regular ongoing SEO and engaging content that not only attracts people, but also then results in a sale or whatever it is. But if you don't have the impressions, you don't have the clicks. If you don't have the clicks, you don't have the sales. That's the improvement opportunity. Okay? So the actual Google Search Console report is descending on impressions on that right-hand column. So I'm going to walk you through the first example to give you the concept here. The page, the number one page that's ranking in terms of impressions variance is 1,300 different from the previous. The last 7 days, this one specific page got 7,500 impressions. The previous 7 days got 6,200 impressions. So that 1,300 variance really represents about 20%. Okay, so I should see my clicks go up by 20%. And so we look over into the column on the clicks variance, and it's actually down -1. So it not only didn't, the previous 7 days was 43, the last 7 days was 42, it went down 1. We should have expected at least a 20% increase, 10%, 4%, so we ought to see an 8 to 9 increase, so it should have been above 50, it's not, it's 42. So Google's not going to continue to show that page with the same ferocity, accelerated value, whatever, right? The increase. It's not going to continue on that pattern unless I fix something, right? So at least it's being presented at the increase in click value that the impressions were. Does that make sense? So the next URL example had 586 impressions in the last 7 days. The previous 7 days was 152, so that's a variance of 400, over 400%, 400 difference. So that represents a 4x if you compare it to the 152 it had that previous 7 days. So you'd expect to see a 4x, right? It had 1 from that previous 7 days, and it didn't have a 4, it went up 0. So a -1 actually on that. So again, what it's saying to us is that the content that's showing up in that meta description, that title, is not engaging enough. We're falling behind. So we need a fast way to improve it. Now you could simply go look at your Ahrefs, your SEMrush, go into incognito mode in Google Chrome and do the search and try to get that page to flag, right, to show up in the search results, and then compare it to the other results and go ahead and do that. But an opportunity for AI and automation is to go ahead and allow the tools to go ahead and do that. So basically, I uploaded a screenshot. I took a screenshot of this, and I have a custom bot that I have. And by the way, I used a custom gem. It's basically, if any of you are familiar with, obviously ChatGPT has custom GPTs. If you don't know what that is, you need to learn. But this is the exact same equivalent in Google Gemini. You can simply go to gemini.google.com and go ahead and click gems, and you can create your new gem. There's a button there that says new gem. So you can go ahead and create it. I'm going to show you potentially what that opportunity looks like. Let me go ahead and pull up my safe version of it here, so it's not actual client-specific data and information. But I created a Google Gem, which does the work for me, okay, just based off that screenshot. So I call it the SERP Architect and CTR strategist. So SERP stands for Search Engine Results Page Architect, and CTR stands for click-through rate. So this, in the instructions, and I can share this with anybody if they want, I can drop it in the comments and stuff like that. But what it does is it's been trained and given parameters to be this, basically an SEO god, lowercase g, who is just really familiar with how this works in terms of looking at that data from Google Search Console, looking at the data in terms of what's actually being presented online, and then rewriting the meta description and the title so that based on what it's seeing, we're going to increase performance. So instead of you trying to figure it out, it does the research for you and then gives you the guidance to be able to go ahead and make those changes in your whatever website CMS you have for those pages. And then you can obviously submit those manually using Google Search Console, and then Google will visit them, and hopefully, God willing, your rankings improve off of that, or you get better get better visibility on AI overviews. So the actual instructions area is the same. We've got it built out for every client at this point, but it makes reference, so it's not specific to an actual client. What is specific, and you notice it here for our listeners, I've got the instructions going on for the regular Google Gem, which is just this awesome SEO lowercase g god, okay? But it's attached, what's in there is attached is the knowledge base for the client. So it's just a simple Word document for me, but it's the who, what, when, where, why, and how of the client, right? Who are they, what they do, what they're unique at, what sales territory they are, their products and services, what makes them special above their competitors, maybe even keywords, all that stuff. You can ram it in one document and then make reference to it. It's told to make reference to the actual attachment anyway. It has client information in it to go ahead and craft the right stuff. So it's really beneficial. You're marrying an expert in SEO and strategies along with the knowledge base of the client. Those two things are really critical when it comes to writing really good content that's engaging. It's going to help drive not only impressions, but also engagement or clicks, and hopefully conversions. You should be tracking that too, by the way, phones and clicks and this. So anyway, when you actually run that sucker, you end up getting let's see if I can find it here. Oh, I have it right there, sorry. The Word doc, I threw it in a Word document, right? So the output in Google Gemini, you can export it out to docs, and then you can download it in terms of Word. I just did this so I wouldn't screw with things. Net is, it did the assessment, okay, for our audio listeners, the SEO strategy demo, the CTR, click-through rate efficiency framework, objective to capture lost organic traffic by engineering SERP snippets that prioritize user intent over simple keyword density. So it looked at that first article, that first link, and again, all I did, guys, was in the prompt, I uploaded the screenshot of Google Search Console. That's all I did with a simple prompt instruction. So I can share any of that with the comments in here, but you guys need to know this is available because it saves so much time. Screenshot, enter, done. And it's a custom bot that you can do this every week on a Friday or something like that for your teams to increase that stuff. So anyway, the process clarity asset. So this would have been the first URL in here. Original issue, high impressions for how to get treatment queries with low clicks. Identified the problem. Demo URL. So it gave me the demo URL, so you can verify that. That's the first one, right? It gave me the demo stats. So it told me it was 1,500 impressions, only achieved 4 clicks, which is a 0.2% CTR. So you can verify that on your Google Search Console screenshot if you want. Proposed meta title. Telehealth medication guides, 95% success rate. Verified MDs. Much better title for this, much more engaging. Okay. Also the proposed meta description. Skip the pharmacy stress, learn our 3-step telehealth process for medication management with board certified MDs. Keep your local pharmacy, start here. Way more engaging because literally it was much more of a dry article, it was bland. And it did rewrite it, provided that suggestion. And because you know your business or your client's business, you're going to be able to go ahead and say, yep, that definitely makes some sense to me. Okay, and you can adjust that instructions if you want more detail, less detail, tell me why, score it. You can do all those things, but this saves a lot of time researching, pulling stuff up in incognito mode and all of that. So what would normally take 45 minutes literally will take maybe even more than 45 minutes with some of these, because you're not only looking at AI overviews and trying to get the prompt if you're doing it in incognito mode. Let's say it takes an hour. It now took, 45 seconds, right? And it has better results and your head doesn't hurt. Sign me up anytime you want for that kind of stuff. So yeah, good information to know. Guys, I hope this is helpful for you. If it was, feel free to share, follow, right? Comment. I'd love to hear from you. If you don't know what I'm talking about or you say, wow, that's interesting, but I don't even know where to start, reach out. But if I've missed anything, by all means, go ahead and let me know. Share that in the comments. You may have better suggestions than that. This was just my way of helping to accelerate AI for all in this case. So have a great week, folks. Again, my name is Chris Bernard from Content Engagement Lab and CB Knows AI. Again, love to hear from you. Please share. Please have a blessed week. Bye-bye.